Supply chain management improves the coordination and relationship between suppliers, producers, and customers. It must be kept at a high level of organization to be successful in today's global economy. Goods and services are now being pieced together from all over the world, and this process can be hectic and complicated if not managed correctly. With supply chain management, your company and employees will be on target to lower costs, improve efficiency, and increase customer satisfaction. This course will provide your employees with the understanding of how supply chain management can improve and help almost any type of business.
Module 2, Why Supply Chain Management? Imagine this. An entrepreneur has an idea for providing affordable organic linens to a national discount chain. But how will she get her product from a factory in South America to customers in the Midwest who will shop at one of the chain's stores? What processes are involved? Who will perform what functions? What about financing and shipping? What will she need to do to ensure satisfied customers? These are the questions answered throughout supply chain management. So then, what exactly is supply chain management? It is the management of interconnected businesses involved in providing goods or services to consumers. Supply chain management involves the finances, logistics, and delivery of products or services and requires integrated behavior and cooperation among the chain's firms to be successful. Customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is a consequence of supply chain management that reflects the value created by the supply chain firms. It comes through delivering value of what is perceived by the customer as important, not the firm members. Customer satisfaction influences purchasing behavior, customer loyalty, and also serves as an indicator of the supply chain's collaborative success at creating a differential advantage. The differential advantage is what sets the chain apart from its competitors. In this topic, let's look further at how we can create value and promote high levels of customer satisfaction. Improving performance. Some decades ago, leadership and management experts Peter F. Drucker and Stephen R. Covey contributed significantly to the field of performance management. Their ideas created new ways in which organizations, both for and nonprofit, functioned, and they also set new standards for measuring both personal and professional success. Performance management is the system of activities involved in measuring and ensuring goals are met for individuals, departments, and organizations. Performance improvement is the concept of measuring processes or procedures and the changes made to improve the effectiveness of those processes or procedures. Performance improvement is a management approach. Because of the globalization of business and the rapid changes in today's marketplace, an important aspect of the supply management puzzle is how to continually improve performance. Lowering costs. After assessing their environment, a supply chain manager might realize that they need to develop a low-cost strategy. In this case, the primary focus of this chain would be cost control. The output or end product is a major consideration in lowering cost. The gross margin, price of goods minus their cost, has to sufficiently cover overhead to turn a profit. Additionally, for cost-lowering strategies to be effective, the supply chain must lower its costs without compromising the value or quality of the end product. Cost control might entail making some tasks routine, producing standard products, practicing economies of scale, trimming or reducing budgets, implementing process engineering. Product development. Supply chain management is a set of management processes in which every step of the process should be on meeting the customer's requirement. Product development is the process of supply chain bringing a new product to market. The product can be tangible, example, stainless steel countertops, or intangible, example, counseling services. The process of product development can be quite lengthy. It may involve steps such as idea generation, business analysis and market research, idea prototypes, beta testing, marketing testing, technical and legal requirements, product pricing, marketing, and retailing.
Tim's publishing company specialized in home repair do-it-yourself manuals and initially experiences steady growth and success. It has several very popular authors who have a loyal following. Tim decides to enter into the ebook business, but does not sufficiently market this new product. 12 months after the changes, the company is not making a profit. Tim calls in his board of directors for an emergency meeting. They brainstorm and look at what made their company successful and what initially worked. They also analyzed what they are currently doing with the ebooks. Tim realizes he did very little market research before releasing the new product.
Module 3, Key Terms, Part 1. Sometimes purchasing, procurement, materials management, logistics, materials management, and supply chain management are used interchangeably. These essential activities are how organizations obtain and deliver materials. They relate not only to a company's cost reduction strategies, but also to its return on capital investment, ROCI. For an organization to operate at optimum efficiency, supply management and procurement need to be clearly defined activities. This module will cover key terms related to supply chains. Procurement. Procurement and purchasing are similar terms. Purchasing is the process of locating a supplier, buying, negotiating, and ensuring delivery. Procurement, on the other hand, is a much broader term that includes purchasing. It also includes storing, transporting, receiving, inspecting incoming materials and supplies, and salvaging items. Proactive procurement is a process reflected in 5 outputs: quality, cost, time, technology, continuity of the supply. Upstream and downstream. The upstream and downstream flow of goods, services, and finances is what links companies in a supply chain together. The terms upstream and downstream essentially represent the dynamics of a supply chain. Information can also be included in the upstream and downstream flow of a supply chain. Upstream relationships are those involving a company's suppliers. Downstream relationships are those involving clients or customers. An ultimate supply chain is the sum of all the companies involved in the upstream and downstream flow from the initial suppliers to the end customer. Raw material. Raw materials are the basic goods or resources used to manufacture products. For example, crude oil is used to make plastics. Iron is used to make steel. Sometimes you might see the terms commodities used instead of raw materials. Commodities are basic goods that can be sold or exchanged for other commodities. Commodities are often sold on large markets like the New York Stock Exchange. Examples of commodities include resources such as crude oil, sugar, and gold. Forecasting. Forecasting is the use of historical data to predict future trends. Firms use forecasting of customer demand to drive the manufacture of goods as well as the acquisition of raw materials. If a supply chain makes in-depth forecasting regarding raw materials, they can plan options to ensure those raw materials are acquired at a reasonable cost. Forecasting improves the sharing of information and resources downstream and makes scheduling and inventory management more efficient. Forecasting can be quantitative or qualitative. Carrying cost. Carrying cost refers to total cost of holding or possessing an item inventory. Carrying cost includes the following: handling charges, storage and facility fees, cost of equipment used to inventory, labor, operating costs, insurance, shrinkage or breakage, taxes, obsolescence, investment costs. The cost to carry is something a supply chain firm can calculate annually. The calculations for annual carrying costs are: carrying cost per year equals average inventory value times inventory carrying cost as a percentage of inventory value. The average inventory value equals average inventory in units multiplied by material unit cost.
James worked as a manager in his company's inventory department. He had to record the materials the company had, order new materials as needed, and establish a continuing supply chain. When James' company expanded, he had to hire a new employee, Carrie. James explained to Carrie that the 5 things about the proactive procurement process that should be kept in mind are quality, cost, time, technology, and continuity. James told Carrie that he had secured a new supply stream for raw materials from Jim's Plastics and explained how the upstream-downstream dynamic worked between their company and the other company. Soon, Carrie was caught up to speed with how the department functioned.
Module 4, Key Terms Part 2. In this module, we will look more closely at the concept of inventory control and more key terms in supply chain management. What does inventory entail? What are some important aspects of meeting the customer's demands for products and services? Lastly, how can supply chain firms effectively handle returns despite the number of organizations that may be involved? Inventory. The supply chain inventories are the commercial items being held for sale. Inventories also include the items used in the manufacturing of other products. The inventories in a particular supply chain can be as diverse as the firms in the chain. Inventory control involves the management of these items and should include determining carrying costs. Inventory drives purchasing decisions, and high inventory sometimes relate to inflation. The topic of supply chain inventory can be broken into 4 categories: inventory costs, which we have already discussed, inventory types, inventory function, management of supply chain inventories. Order generation. Order generation is essentially the process of obtaining customer business for specific products or services. Order generation may require a number of departments within a supply firm: sales, marketing, product development, technical support, product management, research and development, merchandising, and customer service. A supply firm can request customers' business through various means: direct sales, unsolicited and solicited proposals, and quotes. Once the customer recognizes a need and takes action to acquire the product or service, the order is generated. Order taking. Customer orders can be taken a variety of ways once the need has been established and pricing negotiated. Some common ways of taking orders include direct purchase order or sales orders via face-to-face sales, phone orders, blank purchase order cards, internet sales, and online orders. In some cases, a contract may be drawn. When a contract is not drawn, the buyer may detail specifics regarding the need and make a request or invitation for bid, RFB, IFB, request for proposal, RFP, or request for quotation, RFQ. Basic order taking information should include at least 8 items. Number 1, the date. Number 2, number identification. Number 3, originator. Number 4, accounts to be charged. Number 5, item description. Number 6, date, service, or item needed or will be shipped. Number 7, special shipping or delivery instructions. And number 8, signature or sales authorization. Order fulfillment. Order fulfillment, broadly speaking, is the process from the point of sale to when the order is finally delivered to the customer. In particular, however, order fulfillment in the supply chain is a process involving at least 4 physical activities. Number 1, acquiring the item from inventory, purchase, or production. Number 2, preparing the item for shipping. Number 3, scheduling the shipment of the item. And number 4, preparing shipping documentation. Effective and thorough order fulfillment allows a firm or customer to easily track the order once an order is shipped. One way a supply firm can provide its customers good service is by providing order status reports on the orders it fills by tracking orders and communicating the information to the customer on a timely basis. Returns management. Supply chain order processing should have plans for managing returns of faulty products or failed services. Returns management or cancellation policies protects both the supplier and customer. Cancellation and return terms should be established before the order is placed. Logistics of returns vary from industry to industry and according to the product. Some companies employ a returns management system which generates a number for identification and tracking purposes. In the case of a service, returns may be a little more difficult to manage. However, some policy should be established for cancellations, malpractice, or failures to provide the contracted service.
Karen and Bob are co-owners of a company that create customized cell phone cases that can be ordered online. Since the introduction of smartphones, their sales have quadrupled. They are not having difficulty in keeping up with the demand. Their ordering system used to involve representatives working directly with buyers at various department and specialty stores who would fax orders or place orders online. Karen has noticed some issues in their company. Online orders have to be verified before they are filled, which sometimes takes 1 to 2 days. Another issue is one of their suppliers is sometimes slow in getting the raw plastic to them for the cases.
Module 5, 3 Levels of Supply Chain Management. The above quote applies just as much today in a global environment as it did thousands of years ago. Small things do indeed lead to great things. Consider small companies that are now international corporations, i.e. KFC, Coca-Cola. Moreover, management always begins with a single step that leads to successive steps or levels. In this module of the course, we will examine 3 levels of supply chain management: strategic level, tactical level, operation level. Strategic level. Strategic supply chain management involves what was once considered logistic issues. The new concept of supply chain management itself involves relating its practices to a company-wide strategy. The traditional approach with supply chains was to manage from an operational or planning level. However, to operate competitively in a global environment, supply chain management must be first of all aligned with the strategic needs of the business. Sometimes a big challenge for a supply chain is that the large corporations may have goals that are both multidimensional and seemingly contradictory. To sufficiently address its need, a supply chain firm, corporation, can start by taking 3 strategic actions. Number 1, make current activities as efficient as possible. Number 2, manage the risks of current activities. And number 3, develop an internal capacity for learning, adaptation, and innovation. Tactical level. The tactical level of supply chain management is very simple to the strategic level. It relates to logistics and is about how to deploy activities. While the strategy is a mindset, the tactic is the go-to-market decision or determination of which tools a firm will use. It is how the suppliers meet their capabilities to a supply chain firm's needs. On the tactical level, the decisions also include factors such as, will the supply chain do face-to-face negotiations or online orders? Will a firm issue a RFP, or will goods be purchased through an auction? Will they outsource? These are only some tactical questions. There are many. Operational level. For many years, supply chain management was approached from an operational level. Working with suppliers and sourcing were activities the purchasing and operations personnel in the business performed, not the sales, product development, marketing, or customer service department. Operations can vary from firm to firm within a supply chain. In some instances, one firm in the supply chain will take a leadership role. Regardless of who performs the operations, some way of monitoring, controlling, and documenting operations progress needs to exist. Bullwhip effect. The bullwhip effect is a phenomenon that occurs when firms in supply chains fail to accurately estimate demand. To minimize trucking costs or simply to meet a phantom customer demand, firms may place full truckload orders and overstock inventory. The effect creates a cascade on inaccurate information. The supplier may interpret the firm's large orders as a sign to either carry additional inventory or increase lead times. The overall effect is inventory levels in the supply chain increase, and the supply chain becomes bloated with this excess inventory that's been created to meet a fictitious customer demand.
PE Engineering is an internationally recognized civil engineering firm supplying tools for water treatment facilities all over the world. It has had trouble in the past with getting supplies on time and has had shipments even lost by one supplier. Transportation costs have increased lately, which has seriously affected the company. Paul and Ernest, the two owners of PE Engineering, meet for a discussion on how to turn their 40-year-old company around. They note that during the past 3 years, the company has been experiencing several supplier setbacks and sales reductions. PE Engineering currently sells $300 million worth of services annually, which is about $150 million less than it was 6 years ago.
Module 6. 5 Stages of Supply Chain Management. The supply chain has 3 levels of management. It also has 5 stages in which goods, services, or products cycle through the pipeline. Supply chain managers need an understanding of these stages to effectively plan and to assist which determining critical paths in the operation of a chain's firm. The 5 stages are: Number 1, plan. Number 2, source. Number 3, make. Number 4, deliver. Number 5, return. Plan. The plan is the strategy used in supply chain management. Planning helps managers to determine where to allocate funds and efforts for the firm's facilities, materials, and services. In particular, future construction or production requires competent planning to acquire raw materials or components that may be in demand or limited supply. The actual planning process should begin from information obtained from forecasts, sales, production, and economic. The supply manager should use these forecasts to estimate material needs and then break the estimates down into monthly, quarterly, or industry-specific time periods. The estimates should be related directly to trends in materials and adjusted accordingly. Another way to plan is to base materials on the analysis of a buyer or a special project. Source. Source relates to how the firm chooses a supplier. Sourcing is another term for purchasing. Successful sourcing in a supply chain should be driven by a strategic policy instead of tactical approach. A strategic approach allows the supply chain manager to develop a roadmap with the supplier in providing the necessary materials and products. Strategic sourcing has 5 stages. Number 1, discovery, finding potential suppliers. Number 2, evaluation, determining who to do business with. Number 3, selection, choosing the right suppliers through competitive bidding, negotiation, or both. Number 4, development, two-way effort to refine relationships and cultivate optimal supply chain service. Number 5, management, ongoing analysis and supervision of the supplier's ability to meet negotiated responsibilities. Make. Make is the manufacturing step. In this stage, the decision of whether to make or buy is always a critical step in any organization. This strategic decision can influence the entire operations of business. On a tactical level, whether to make depends usually on 2 factors: the total cost of ownership and the ability to produce the item. This stage involves the most metrics. In the past, large companies traditionally would opt for making products in-house, which they branded. Now, outsourcing has become the trend for many large corporations. The key question is, how much value will making a product add as a percentage of final product or service costs? Deliver. Deliver is the stage in which the supplier provides the agreed-upon goods or services. Some people also call this step the logistics step because it is where decisions are made about how to coordinate receipt of items by the customer, how to warehouse products, how to select transporters for shipments, and invoice customers for payment. At this point, customer satisfaction greatly depends on the efficiency and reliability of the delivery system. This stage is where the supplier's performance is heavily evaluated. Did they deliver? Delivery systems can vary from firm to firm, but in supply chains, an integrated system works the best. In some cases, multiple departments with one firm may even be involved. Return. Return is a complex part of supply chain management because it deals with how to return defective items or goods. The problem is that companies have varied policies, and integrating within a chain's network can be quite challenging. Suppliers have to create a responsive and flexible system for receiving defective or excess products back from their customers in the supply chain. Moreover, supply chain managers must be proactive and diligent when supporting customers who have problems with products.
Chase's laundering company, All Clean, recently acquired a municipal contract for cleaning public employees' uniforms. Because of the huge number of public employees in the area, this contract will now account for about 20% of the laundering company's business. Besides cleaning uniforms, All Clean also sells and launders commercial linens and floor mats. These linens and floor mats are popular in the area and also account for a fair part of Chase's business. When Chase next meets with a representative of the municipality, he's told that in the next 3 years, the municipality plans to increase its personnel by at least 10% and will require increase in Chase's services.